In part 1 of our 2-part series, we unboxed and assembled our new Aquastrong 12-inch sand filter. And this is part 2, our Aquastrong sand filter installation. We got delayed by spring monsoons, but we're back. With fluffy filter balls that replace 150 pounds of sand, grab an iced tea. We're gonna twist, tighten, connect, and soon we'll have turbo-powered water. It's like having one riptide in your pool. It is Aquastrong. Join us and float through the installation. Welcome to Eclectic Ideas. We're glad you're here. We put 2 unsealed wood planks as a base under the swimming pool pump. We'll raise and seal them later, but today we're just getting her done. We'll lay the sand filter tank base here and connect it to the pool pump. We position the pump this direction because water comes into the pump from this side. Now we're going to get our sand filter tank and we're going to place that on the sand filter tank base. Here's the pressure gauge, and he's under a lot of stress. So to ensure all our threaded fittings are really tight with no leaks, let's wrap each fitting in Teflon tape like a mummy so you get a nice seal at each join. If a part needs a fitting, just tape it. Tape it real good. But for all you overachievers out there, not too good. Just get a nice seal on it so it's stronger under pressure. Just like you will be after installing this all by yourself. And you can see how that tape just melds into the threading and gives you more grip and seal. And now the pressure gauge is installed. That looks legit. Here's the 1.5-inch filter hose converter. More Teflon tape. This fitting connects the hose from the pump to the tank. This Aquastrong pool pump comes with the adapter kit to accommodate the most common above-ground pool hoses. So to reduce the overwhelm for you first-timers, let's unscrew this and show you this pool converter adapter kit. So if you have the smaller 1.25 hose, you'll see it fits right up to this section of the adapter. Now, if your above-ground pool requires a 1.5-inch hose circumference, the hose slides over the flange all the way up under the threaded base. See, 1.25 comes up to the first top, and 1.5 will go all the way to the top past all those little O-rings. Your pool may not have this kind of adapter or connector. You may have one like this. And that's okay. There's a whole bag of goodies included. The converter kit comes with it so that maybe you won't have to run to the store mid-install. You can see the 3 different connectors here. If you're not using this type of connector, you can simply use this one and just screw it in here. Now, by this time in the video, you know that if you see threads like that, you're going to tape it first. This is just a demo, and we're going to take this flange and we're going to tighten that there if we were going to use this kind of a connector. But just so you know, the common types of connectors that come with above ground pools will be thoughtfully provided in that converter kit. Let's remove this hose and this adapter. And just so you're aware, all of these adapters come with this O-ring right here. So take care not to lose these or let them fall off. These are going to help you keep it sealed. Let's put our 1.25-inch adapter back in. And this is where you'll backwash the pool. We'll add a hose later to take that water away from the pool. But first, what do you see on this connector? Yep, it's threaded. We're going to go ahead and put some Teflon tape on that. Let's get that tightened. And we've got some grip. Let's unfasten the tank clamp that holds the 6-way valve on the tank using a Phillips head screwdriver. As you loosen that screw, the clamp releases and you just gently open that hinge and remove the clamp. When we lift off the 6-way valve, the center pipe hub shows the min-max lines for filling sand or filter balls. And here's what we're going to fill it with, the Aquastrong Pool Filter Balls. 4.6 pounds of these replace 150 pounds of sand, and that really persuaded us to try this before we try sand because it's just so much lighter. There's instructions on the box: open the filter, empty and clean the debris, fill between the min and max lines, and close the filter. And then it says don't backwash for at least 90 days. Wow, really? I was rinsing my old cartridge filter twice a day in the summer. I'm feeling a deep love for these already. So it looks like we bought a new pillow, kind of like a big vacuum-packed bag of marshmallows. So here's what they're looking like from the back and the front. These come with a surprising 1-year warranty, which I never expected. Let's cut the bag and see if they fluff up. So here's our bunny tails. Look at all that. And there's something, when you push on it, there's something hard inside, like a center core or something. It's interesting, but yeah, they're just fluffy little cotton balls. That's what they feel like. So let's go ahead and put them in this box, and we're just going to let them sit in the sun and fluff up and aerate for a little bit. And there you go. That replaces 150 pounds of sand. Let's get on the ball and get this filter loaded. We've got the minimum and the maximum, and since we're not sure, we're just going to go with the middle zone right here, just right in the center. And we're going to fill it to that. Now you notice lateral is on the bottom. That's the black thing. It looks like it would be in your toilet plunger. And then we've got that center pipe, and that needs to stay straight. And right here is our sand shield, and it has a little slot that's going to keep this aligned so that no filter balls or sand make their way into the pump or the hoses. So let's shove it in and pack it deep. And that should do it. We filled it to kind of in the middle between, just under the max line. And we used about a third of the package. We're filling with water, but I think it'll fill anyway when we turn the pump on. Hydration matters. They appear to be fully hydrated. We're going to take the sand shield off, and we're going to put the 6-way valve back on. The word pump is on the valve, and we want to be sure that is facing this direction so that the hose will connect with the motor. Ensure the O-ring gasket is in place. It makes a good seal for the 6-way valve to rest on. Just like that. In the user manual, this is labeled the SandFilter interconnecting hose, and it's going to connect the motor to the SandFilter tank, and we're going to tighten that flange. You can see it's still wobbling, so let's get this tank clamp on, because every well-dressed SandFilter needs a collar, right? Once the tank clamp is evenly seated, you're going to affix this giant screw from right to left, because there's a nut on the left-hand side that it's going to screw into. So once you get it going in straight, then you just keep screwing it in with the Phillips head screwdriver until both sides of the clamp meet in the middle. It's harder to dress the SandFilter than our toddler. Here's the voice of experience. With an above-ground pool or spa, you're going to have lots of thingamajigs and whatchamacallits. So we got the biggest animal cracker jar we could find, and this is where we keep our stoppers so that when a hose splits, you never hear the words, "I can't find the stopper." You don't want to hear that. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. If you're new to pool pumps, we've got you. This is the B-side. Unfiltered water enters the intake valve here and flows into the SandFilter tank. So B-side means to be cleaned. Loosen the screw clamp just for some wiggle room, not for a flood. Now that we've loosened it, we can pull out this intake valve cover. Now, in case you're beside yourself wondering why there's 2 B-sides, you can connect a skimmer basket to one B-side, which is a great idea. We have a video tutorial on that. And to this other B-side, you could attach an automatic pool vacuum that works with your pump. The first B-side is stop-gapped. Let's move to the second B-side. It's affixed with a squeaky plastic clamp. Again, loosen to get just enough wiggle room, remove the intake valve cover, and put in our stopper. Another intake valve eats the dust. It's gonna eat the dust when we get this thing turned on. And now both our B-side stoppers are in, and you're thinking maybe this is a good time to stop her from talking about the B-side. And with that, we return to the A-side. This is the return jet that pushes all the nice filtered water back into our pool. So that's the A-side, the return jet, and now you can stop her from talking about the A-side. Let's plug and play onto the next section. Now we showed you plugging the B-side because you may not have this valve. And if you don't have this valve, this is a great one. I believe this is the one from Wowbully. We got it from Amazon, and you just turn this off and it cuts the water off from coming from both B-sides down into this bottom pipe. So then you don't have to use the black stoppers anymore. You can just turn that valve off and go against the flow. Now let's recap. The water comes from this B-side and this B-side into this center pipe right here, goes up into the B-side of our old cartridge filter pump. We're loosening this B-side hose. The other hose you see on the left is the A-side hose that takes the filtered water back up into the pool. We're dumping this, and we're going to now put this B-side hose onto the B-side of our new Aquastrong SandFilter. This is the intake valve that's going to bring all the B-side water into the pump to be filtered. Notice we have these rubber gaskets, these O-rings, and sometimes they're hard to get the hose over these, and they kind of roll on you. So if they do roll, just back your hose off and try again. This one slid on so easily, and because we have the 1.25, it went right up to this section. If you had the bigger hose, it'll go all the way up to that second flange there and closer to the filter basket. So we're just going to take this metal clamp now, and we're just going to tighten it down with our flathead screwdriver. And it will take you a minute to get it nice and tight here. And now the B-side of the pool is connected to our new Aquastrong filter. And y'all, we're clicking right along. We're removing the A-side from our old Best Way cartridge filter, and the water from the pump is running out. But before we do the A-side, let's recap. Now our B-side brings unfiltered water up this hose and into the pump port inlet on the 6-way valve. It's marked pump here. Now right here, it's marked pool. And we're going to put our A-side hose onto this outlet port that's marked pool, slide it up over those O-rings, and this outlet port will return the filtered water back into the pool. And let's get our A-side tightened down with our screwdriver, and we got it. Since a lot more force and pressure is going to be coursing through these hoses, we decided to buy some hose support brackets, pop that bracket onto the pipe, and then just slide the hose over it inside that little tray there, and it's just going to act as a truss or a support to keep it from sagging. Now let's go on the inside and pull the stopper out. We're ready to do that. We're going to put one of the B-side intake valves back in, tighten it down, and there we go. Now let's get to that pump motor, and we're going to twist this lid off. This is a little filter basket that gets the debris that comes in from the B-side hose. That little hole goes in the hose, right there in the hose channel, if you will. And we're going to tighten that back down. It is hard. You have to really press hard to do it. I think it'll loosen up some as it gets older. And for instructional purposes, this is the air bleeder valve, in case you need to know where that is. You can just take some of the pressure off and just prime the pump this way. Now we turn the water valve on, so this is under pressure. Now if we twist this a little bit, the water's going to come rushing in. And we're just going to tighten it back down. Batten down those hatches, Captain. And now we have water in our filter basket. I was telling you earlier that where the A side fits, it says pool. And you can see the PO right there if you look carefully on the 6-way valve. So that's your A side again, and it's going to go into the pool. And we have an adapter that hasn't been named yet. That's where we're going to backwash. This is your clear view window, so that you can see when it's dirty and it needs backwashing. And when the water runs clear here, then you know that, okay, I can quit backwashing. This is the water pressure gauge, the valve, and so when it's in green, it's good. As it gets higher, you'll need to backwash. A filter ball stuck in the A side can spike that pressure, but that's another story. The electrical plug is disappointingly short. We used an outdoor rated cord that spans a long distance. If you're not sure, check with an electrician. Now currently the 6-way valve is in the closed position, and before we turn it on, we need to move it to the filter position, and unless the backwash port is closed, water's going to come out there as we turn it. We have this outlet for backwash, but we don't have a hose for it yet, so we need to get a longer hose for it, and if we do, we would just fit it on here like this and just take that water where we want it, like get the hose long enough that we can just move it away from the pool altogether. And that way you can backwash and not make a mess everywhere. But when we're not backwashing, remove this hose, remove that adapter, and cap the port off with this cover. So here's the pump, and once you turn it on, you can go over here and change the timer to be what you want, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 24 hours. Very handy to have that. So just choose how long you want to run it. Right now I do 8 hours until I get some kind of a waterproof cord box, because I don't want to leave it on in the rain or at night when I don't know what's happening. So I just watch it in the daytime. And there's the power. Now we have about 4,000 gallons of water in this pool, and Aquastrong's 12-inch tank has a system flow rate of about 2,000 gallons per hour. So at this rate, it would take about 2 hours to filter 4,000 gallons. That's approximate, of course. If you had 9,000 gallons, you'd need to leave it running about 4.5 hours to turn it over one time. It's so exciting to me to be able to turn the entire volume of pool water over in about 1.5 hours. That's awesome, because I've been messing with that little cartridge filter. Sometimes I rinse that thing 2 times a day, honestly, in the hot summer. And this is the strength of this is amazing. It is really, really strong. I mentioned all our spring rain, and the pool is a bit cloudy, the water. And after we've run this for a week, the water is not cloudy anymore. It's really clear. Here's the pressure gauge. It's pumping strong and still in the green. Has a lot of water pressure, certainly compared to what we're used to, but it's great. This is strong, like in-ground pool vibes strong, and about $50,000 less. So the nephew can have lots of fun on the cheap. We're gonna enjoy ours for sure. Happy swimming. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.